I'd like to kickstart this episode by telling you that showing up for yourself today is gonna matter just as much as the end goal. Do you want to know why? Because it shows that you respect yourself. You respect yourself enough to follow through with the promises you make to yourself, which is really important because it shows that you're treating yourself today with the same level of importance as this future self you're trying to build. Because the truth is, discipline isn't just about what you achieve later. It's about what you're becoming or who you're becoming. Which brings us to today's topic: discipline and the struggles associated with staying consistent. Hi, I'm Nicole.
And I'm Tinashe, and welcome back to Thoughts We Share podcast.
Ooh.
So, like Nicole mentioned, we're talking about discipline today, and we just wanted to go into why people lack discipline and why that happens, because that's such a common thing. We were just having this conversation yesterday about how we want to be more disciplined in many areas in our lives, but it's just hard to get into it, stay consistent, and just be a disciplined person, like all those people that go to gym every single day. So, Nicole, why do you think people like discipline, or where do you think that stems from? Or for yourself, why do you feel you like discipline sometimes?
I mean, come on, guys, let's be real. Discipline is hard. Like, you start off with like good intentions about what you want to do. Like, let's say you want to go to the gym, like, you have the right intentions, you know what you want to achieve at the end. But somewhere along the line, it's like we lose momentum. And I was trying to research about this because I actually wanted to understand, like, why is it that we're losing momentum? And then I realized that it's because we relied too much on motivation. Like, which motivation is the spark that gets you started. But if you rely on it, it's like it's not going to keep you going on the days that you're struggling to stay motivated, which is why I feel we lack motivation. I mean, lack discipline because we're waiting to be motivated. You're waiting to feel like doing that thing. And sometimes you don't. You don't feel like doing it.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing actually, because for me that's just what happens. I know as a creative person, I want to write. That's my medium of choice. And I struggle with keeping up with writing because I feel I'm not inspired on a daily basis. Like if
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a big idea today, then I'm not going to sit down and write a story or write a poem or anything.
Mm-hmm.
So I struggle a lot with that. Just to echo what you were saying as well, I think a big part of it is also not knowing the goal.
Yes.
Like you want to be disciplined, you want to go to gym, you want to write every day, but what is the actual goal there?
Mm-hmm.
Because I noticed that when people set a target and say, okay, I want to lose 60 kgs or
Mm-hmm.
I want to write 5,000 words, you might actually be more inclined to get up and do it because you see the goal that's there. But when you
Mm-hmm.
don't have any defined goal, you just want to go gym, really. It doesn't really
Yes.
feel, you don't really get attached to the idea of being consistent with it, you know?
Yes.
Yeah. I think another part of why people like discipline is sometimes you might have a goal, but it might feel very overwhelming to achieve.
Mm-hmm.
Might be too big a thing. And imagining how you're going to navigate that whole process of start to end, how you're going to get up and do the thing, it can be so, it's like you're taking a
Daunting.
big bite. Yeah, it can be so daunting. It's like you're taking a big bite out of a big dry biscuit, and it's like, oh my gosh, where do I go with this huge thing in my face, this huge elephant? Where do I begin with it?
Yes.
And then it just comes crumbling down, and at the end of the day, you just stay in bed.
That's so true, actually.
Yeah.
And also just the idea, and like you're saying, if you want to go to the gym, I think sometimes how you're able to, I guess, stay motivated, even the days when you're not really feeling motivated, is your end goal results. Like
Mm,
just knowing, like you're saying, knowing what you want from it. Not just, I
yeah.
want to go to gym. Like, what does it mean to you to be in shape? Maybe to you it means to be healthier, to be able to get up the stairs without huffing and puffing, like the five whys as to why that's really important to you, rather than I just want to go to the gym to have a nice body Why
Mm.
do you want to have a nice body?
Mm.
Like when you know the core reason why you're chasing that thing and why you need to be disciplined in order to get it, sometimes it keeps that momentum going a little bit because you know why I have to do this. If I sit at home, I'm not gonna get this body that I want, and I'm not gonna be
Yeah.
able to live a long life. And all the side effects that you get from not exercising or eating healthy, lifestyle changes and all that stuff. When you know why, I think it's what the thing that helps you stay disciplined.
Yeah. So just to expand on that, I think Nicole mentioned five whys. It's basically a process of continuously asking yourself why.
Hmm.
So if my goal today is I want to write, and then I go into it asking myself the first why? Then I say, because I want to be an author. Why? Because I love writing. Why? Because I want to write stories about women. Why? Because I want my books to be published and read by women who resonate so they can build a community and see themselves and da 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 and on and on and on. So
Yeah,
that just expands the purpose of the goal that you have or the idea that you want to pursue.
I
You
love
keep
that.
asking yourself why, and then eventually you get to the root of the reason that idea has come to your mind.
Yes,
And then
I
once you
love
get to
that.
that, that becomes your purpose, and you want to fulfill that purpose because you realize that it's no longer surface level,
Mm-hmm.
it's more in depth. You want to evoke an emotion in others, you want to evoke an emotion in yourself, you want to feel confident in yourself, if it's a gym thing or a healthy eating thing or a losing weight thing, or you just want to be more consistent and show up for your friends if you want to communicate on a regular basis. So it's that why that you have to keep asking yourself.
Actually, I do like that. I think it's very important, as we're saying, that to know why you want to do that,
Mm,
because it also drives the motivation, or at least when the motivation is lacking, it drives your purpose behind that thing.
mm,
And I was reading before, and they were saying that sometimes it's not enough just to set a goal. You also need a system along with that. Like, for
mm,
instance, instead of saying that I want to read more, so if you, for instance, you set a system, it says, I will read 10 pages every
mm,
night before bed. It's like you're affirming, like what you were saying before, you have to say, I am a reader and I read 10
mhm,
pages every single day, rather than I want to exercise more. I want to read more. You need to be very specific about what it is exactly, and starting small. Maybe if you say I want to read a book in a month, it seems like too overwhelming, like what you said before. Start by saying, I'm going to read 10 pages every day before I go to bed.
mm.
And then work your way up. Once you build that momentum, you'll be able to add more pages because you've built that habit,
Yeah,
which is what's important. Building a habit, because that's what discipline is, building a
yeah,
habit.
definitely. And I think what you said about that, asking yourself why, and then when you said you should label yourself as that thing and saying I am a reader, right?
Yes.
But I think the issue then comes there for some people, even for myself,
Mm-hmm.
where you are now battling with who you are now
Mm-hmm.
versus who you want to be.
Yes.
Yeah. So then defining those two areas, because for me now, I am not someone that writes every day.
Yes.
But future me wants to be someone that writes every day and says, today I wrote 300 words. This
Mm-hmm.
morning on creative writing, I wrote a poem and all of that. But I'm
Mm-hmm.
struggling with the who I am now, who wants to lay in bed and snooze my alarm and spend those minutes sleeping instead of getting up,
I
you know?
completely understand. Yes.
Yeah. So I think maybe starting there before you even label yourself, like defining or measuring who you are now versus who you want to be. What are the
Uh-huh.
non-negotiables your future self has with you,
That
you
is
know?
so true. And can you give
Hmm.
us an example for people who are wondering what that looks like? Like, what do you mean
Okay.
by what are the non-negotiables your future self has?
Okay. So usually non-negotiables are put in for boundary setting with other people. So if you're in a relationship and or you're looking to get into a relationship, there's certain things that you'll accept and certain things that you won't accept. So for me personally, I wouldn't accept a cheating partner. that's my non-negotiable. If someone has cheated or they cheat, that's when I get out of that conversation.
Yes.
But then now defining that for myself.
Mm-hmm.
Future me is someone that writes on a regular basis, has published a book, is an author, speaks and reads and recites their poems on stages and performs these poems and writes scripts and is just a huge big time writer.
Mm-hmm.
But to get to that point, I have to start writing. I can't
Mm-hmm.
be an author with nothing, right? With no text on paper.
Exactly.
So the non negotiable for myself is every day I have to write. And then if I break it down, because that's overwhelming, what do I mean I have to write? What are the guidelines for that? So
Yes.
I want to be a writer that writes creative writing. So that means every day I have to write a creative writing piece. So this doesn't mean when I write anything at work or anything at home when I sign a letter. No, it means I'm taking that time to write a creative piece. And then the other guideline was how much time am I giving myself every day?
Mm-hmm.
So instead of going for the full 300 words a day, 500, 1,000 words, I'm going for the bare minimum, like literally the base, which is 5 minutes a day. 5 minutes a day, I pick up the pen, I write anything that just comes to mind. So for me, that's a non negotiable with myself right now,
Mm-hmm.
that I shouldn't let myself down.
Yes.
I can only rely on myself to become an author. Nobody's going to stand up and say, "Oh, Tina, I know in primary school you used to be a good writer. Come and write this book for me." That won't happen ever. I have to
Mm-hmm.
do that for myself. So for
That's true.
me, my non negotiable is every day, 5 minutes a day at 8:30 at night, I pick up the pen and I write 5 minutes worth of creative writing and I
Mm-hmm.
put it down. And again tomorrow, and again tomorrow, and again tomorrow, and again tomorrow until I feel like I can trust myself.
Oh, I love that. And
Mm-hmm.
it's so important that you said that's your non-negotiable and that is what you're going to do. Because do you know what that tells me about you, where you are at right now in your life?
Mm.
It shows that you respect yourself
Yeah.
and that you're trying to follow through with what you're saying, which is
Mm.
what discipline is all about. Even when you don't
Definitely.
feel like it, whether you have a mind stuck, you've told yourself that I expect myself to write every single day for 5 minutes, anything that goes into my mind. So by respecting yourself, you respect that my future self is a writer. My future self writes every day, or at least writes all the time, or is constantly writing. And I think just the idea of respecting yourself, that's one of the other things that just helps you to
Mm.
continuously try to do more and do better. And
Mm.
also, like, just realizing that with any growth, it's going to be hard, especially if you're going from maybe writing once or twice a week, or when you did feel something, like if, like you're saying, as a creative, sometimes when you really feel in tune with what it is that you're talking about, you feel so motivated, you feel like
Yeah.
everything's moving. But then it doesn't always feel like that. It's not every
Mm.
single day you're going to want to pick up the pen and write anyway. It's not every day you really are feeling what you're writing, but you're
Mm-hmm.
writing anyway because you're showing yourself that even in moments, because I think even as an author, later on when you are writing, you're going to speak to the crowd that's like, well, there were moments where I didn't have anything to
Mm-hmm.
write, but I wrote anyway. And then
Anyway.
that teaches me something,
Mm.
which I love about that.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say you have your own non-negotiable at the moment about what you want to be disciplined with or what
Hmm.
you're learning to be
I think
disciplined with?
right now I have a mini like non-negotiable that I'm really learning to be disciplined with. So that's within my relationship with God, because
Mm.
it's like a new relationship.
Mm.
And when you're building a relationship, the way I see it is like it's like how let's say you're dating or you've met someone new. You can't just go on the first date, everything's great, everything goes well, and then just expect things to flow from there. You still have to get to know each other. You still have to ask questions. You need to hear back from them. And that's what I'm learning. I'm learning that just because it's great today doesn't mean I'm going to be feeling him tomorrow, but I'm still trying to cultivate that relationship. So when I first started on my faith journey, when I just decided that yes, I'm going to do it and I'm going to pick up my cross and follow Jesus, it was just like momentum, pa 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 pa, everything was going great. And then obviously, because it's a relationship, when things started getting shaky and turbulence, I started stepping back because
Mm,
you're dealing with this. It's like, oh my God, I have something more important, not like in that sense, but like something that needs to be dealt with right now. So, like, for
mm,
instance, before, if I need to go somewhere and I have to go there for 9, but because I've had programmed my brain at that time to wake up at 9 to read the Bible. If I have to be somewhere at 9, it means now I'm waking up at like 7:30 to get to my appointment, which means I haven't made time
for
for God
that. Yeah.
exactly in that time because I've had to rush. So the best way I'm learning to maneuver that and stay disciplined is, even if I have to go somewhere, it means that I have to be uncomfortable for that day. It
Yeah.
means we're waking up at 6 a.m.,
Yeah.
basically. I have to take accountability. I can't say, well, because I had to be somewhere at 9, which is the time I'm meant to be reading my Bible, then I couldn't read my Bible today.
Yeah.
It means that I have to adjust because that's what discipline is about. If you had planned to go, um, in summer, like before, I like walking in summer. So, well, in England, when winter half the time and it's raining, so it means I don't walk unless it's summer.
Mm,
Do you know what I mean? So
mm.
I'm trying to adjust myself into being in uncomfortable places because growing really happens when you're comfortable. And that's one thing I'm trying to ingrain in my head, that if it
Definitely.
means you have to wake up, because you're a 9 to 5 babe, obviously I'm still job hunting, you're a 9 to
Mm,
5 babe, and if you're saying that you're going to write 5 minutes every single day, so it means you have to wake up an extra 5 minutes because you have to get ready for work,
yeah.
right? So that's what I'm trying to do. That's my non-negotiable, that I want to communicate with God every single day. Whether I have somewhere to go, I'm trying to shift myself from that comfortability of, oh, I have all day anyway, so I'll
Mm,
get to it,
mm,
to just whether I have time or not, I'm making time because that's what I said to myself, that I
mm-hmm.
have to communicate with God every single
Every
day.
single
So
day.
that's
Yeah.
what it looks like for me right now. Because I always feel that that's the most important thing to me right now. If
Mm,
I can just, like you said, small bites. That
mm-hmm.
is my preferred small bite. Whereas yours, your preferred small bite is creativity. My preferred bite right now is cultivating my relationship with God in a disciplined manner. And I feel like once I learn how to grow that habit, it's going to translate in other areas of my life because at least I have that character in me to be disciplined. It's not foreign anymore, if that
Yeah,
makes
that's
sense.
actually, it's amazing that you said that because that's the whole point of discipline. So, discipline and self-doubt are opposites, like direct opposites.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the time, like if even if you're talking about your relationship with God and how that developed, right? Before you even stepped into that Christian babe, religious side of yourself, you had a lot
Mm-hmm.
of doubt regarding that area.
Yes.
Yeah, you were very like nervous about it, unsure, and even just stepping into it and just getting a Bible, you were like, what am I doing? There's a
Yes.
lot of questioning
Where
and
do I
all.
start?
Exactly. Whereas when you look at discipline, there's a lot of confidence that comes with being disciplined. And I was watching this podcast, I'll link it, but basically he said discipline and self-doubt are direct opposites. The same way hot and cold are direct opposites, but they're in the same group. Hot and cold are both temperatures, but they're opposite.
Mm-hmm.
Same with self-doubt and discipline. So when you're disciplined, you have no self-doubt because
Mm.
you're developing this relationship with yourself. You're showing up for yourself. You believe in yourself. You are taking action for yourself. Whereas with self doubt, you listen to those negative thoughts of, can I actually do it? Can I actually stand up and go to the gym? Am I actually capable of doing this? No, I don't think I can. I can't do it. There's a lot of no, 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 I can't, I can't. And then you end up just staying in bed. Whereas with
That is so
discipline,
valuable.
I know, right? It blew my mind because it was like, wow, I never actually thought of it that way. But when you do your daily disciplines, whether that's brushing your teeth and combing your hair and looking at yourself in the mirror, you're trusting yourself that you can actually get up no matter what day it is, even if it's raining outside, even if it's cold, even if the electricity is gone, whatever situation it is, you know, when you wake up in the morning,
Mm-hmm.
you will go brush your teeth. And think about how when you don't brush your teeth in the morning immediately, if you're that type of person who you get up and go straight to the toilet to brush your teeth, when something gets in the way of that action, how uncomfortable you feel.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're like, I haven't done something for me. I need to do it. You have this urge, this desire, you're like, I need to do this, your day won't go well without that discipline.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you become so self-conscious, you're doubting yourself, you're thinking, damn, does my breath stink? Can people notice? Like, you're just so within yourself. But when you do it, you feel confident.
Oh my God, that actually spoke to me because
Yeah.
like I hadn't thought about it that way.
Mm,
Because yeah, truly if you look at it in like tunnel vision, like to be
yeah.
disciplined means that you, like we said before, you respect yourself and also
Mm-hmm.
you're confident in yourself. Do you know what I mean? You're
Mm-hmm.
confident that you're gonna do what you said you're gonna do, which then eliminates self-doubt because you know you're the type of person that shows up for that thing you said you're gonna show up to.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? And it always tends to, well, for me, I'll speak for myself anyway, my lack of discipline tends to seep into different areas of my life. And it makes sense now that you're saying self doubt. Because
Mm,
sometimes, let's just say, for instance, I needed to get to do, let's say, an assignment. Maybe I want to
mm,
do an assignment. And I know that in order for me to ace this assignment, I have to do a level of studying, which then requires me to be disciplined for that. Time period where I have to do that assignment. In instances where I don't show up the way I feel like I should have showed up, I'm already feeling a bit, if I wasn't disciplined
nervous.
enough, I'm feeling a bit doubtful because I know
Mm,
that I didn't put enough effort
effort.
that was needed for me to walk into that exam or submit that assignment feeling confident. It's that self-doubt. But in places where I've always put my head down and really put in as much effort and been disciplined, not watched the movie, but then instead chose to do my assignment, in all those times when I submit my assignment, I actually sleep peacefully because
Mm,
I know that I've done the best to my ability and
mm-hmm.
I've given what I could have because I was
Mm,
disciplined. So it
mm-hmm.
actually makes sense and I love that. And I'm gonna
Yeah.
think about that moving forward.
It's a great analogy. I think just breaking it, putting it back down to the toothbrush, right? It just broadens how much you can see of your day to day.
Mm-hmm.
How much self-doubt do I carry on a daily basis? Why is that? You then start asking yourself, why is that? And then if you imagine each situation as, this is my toothbrush and I didn't brush my teeth, then you get to see how what you need to fix in that area or whatever area that you're in. And I think even the school one is a very good example because I know a lot of people are very last minute. Like you can talk to someone and they're like, me when I was in uni, I would do I would do my assignment the last 24 hours.
Yes.
I'll be procrastinating for months and then I do my dissertation in the last three weeks. And it's like, bro, wait. That's not good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but it's that amount of pressure because then that's the other thing about discipline and having that idea in your head for so long that you're procrastinating so much and it's really eating at you.
Mm-hmm.
And then the day that you actually do it, then you see like it didn't even take any amount of time. It just took 4 minutes out of you.
Yes.
And then you're done and you're like, oh wow, that was quick and easy. And then you start thinking, man, I should have done that earlier. Why didn't I do that
Mm-hmm.
earlier? And then you get into this whole thing of shame and you're not feeling great. And you're now, it just, when you don't do the thing, it just gives you even more negative feelings,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and that's a whole nother topic now, getting into shame and all. That's a whole nother thing. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think
I,
those are really good examples, to be honest, about how to really look at how to navigate discipline, how to see what's important, you know.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's good that you touched on the procrastination because I was saying earlier that I always feel like when you think of discipline as a means to an end, like for instance, if you say, well, I want to have a business in 5 years, or I
Mm,
want to graduate in 5 years, where maybe you're in the first year of your uni, or you've just kind of decided that this goal that you want is set for 5 years. I want to have a great body by the end of the year. Right now it's January. So it says that it encourages the delay in taking action because you feel like there's time. That's how
yeah.
procrastination happens because you're like, well, but that's in 5 years though. Do you
Yeah.
know what I mean? You're always like, oh, I can start tomorrow because that's in 5 years.
Mm,
Because if you ever notice all these last minute dissertation students, which I was speaking to one of my friends, she's
yeah.
drafting a dissertation right now, which is due in May. She hasn't started. I asked her, how many words are you in? She said, well, I haven't started. I've just
Mm,
literally written like drafts and method, whatever, like, the first page.
yeah.
And the reason why she hasn't started is because she knows, well, but it's in May though, so I can start
Mm.
tomorrow. And then something arises and she's like, okay, well, let me do this, but then I can do this tomorrow. And then that's how the day is just gonna
It
keep
just keep
procrastinating. She's just
going.
gonna going. She got this assignment last year. We're in
Yeah.
February now. May is not too far. So
Mm.
that's the thing. Like, it's because you start like delaying your action because you think you have time because you've said to
Yeah.
yourself, well, I have till the end of the year. What's minus 1 day out of
Mm.
365? And then if you're not careful, you just keep saying minus one. And then
Yeah.
at the end, we're in December
Yeah.
and you
And you
haven't
still
done
haven't
much.
done it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I also was listening to this podcast by Alex Homonzi. I hope I said his name right. But
Yeah.
he basically had this video about how to make your 2025 great. And he said that it's very important to, if it's whatever it is that you're trying to do, if it's important enough for you to do it for your future self, then it's certainly important enough for you to do it for your current you,
Mm.
because you never enjoy things. Like, for instance, you can't enjoy right now what your future self has,
Yeah.
basically. You can't go and enjoy it for your future self in your current moment. So you're like, by saying I'm gonna enjoy it when I get to the end of the year, it defeats the whole purpose of enjoying allowing your current self to enjoy the ride on
Mm.
your way to the end of the
Mm.
result. So he's saying that if something is valuable enough for your future self, then it means that it's already valuable for you
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
how we're talking about like taking responsibility and accountability and saying I'm going to hold myself accountable because I respect myself. And you also
Mm.
want your current self to enjoy that journey, rather than saying
Exactly.
more just because you now feel like dragging. It's dragging so that you
Mm.
can enjoy the end of when you finally get the body. So you've
Mm.
actually not enjoyed the time you've gone to gym. I speak for myself because when I went to gym the whole time, I completely hated it, but then I enjoyed the results.
Yeah.
Looking back now, moving forward, I think I want to do it in a way, a different mindset shift. Like, if you shift your mind a little
Mm.
bit, and if you show up for yourself, you're able to shift your mindset from delayed success to daily commitment, where I'm like,
Yeah.
this is me respecting myself. And then I enjoy it because I'm doing a service to myself. I
Yeah.
want to do this for, like, goes back to the 5 whys of why you're doing it. If you keep
Mm.
reminding yourself, you're going to more time enjoy that experience and be able to maintain your discipline because this is a service to you.
Yeah. Are you keeping that promise to yourself?
Mm-hmm.
That's essentially what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
You've dedicated that time to go to the gym, but are you keeping up with that promise? Are you saying, I'm here for what I intended to be?
Mm-hmm.
Or you're just there for like, okay, I'm just here, and then you hate the whole experience. You're not
Exactly. You're here
grateful
for
for it.
just the last
Yeah.
second.
Forgetting that you wanted that so bad,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I
Mm-hmm.
love that. I
Yeah.
love that. So
Yeah.
should we talk about like tips, like things that have worked for you, and I guess things
Definitely.
that you've read about and stuff?
Okay. So, we listen a lot to Mel Robbins and how she overcame all her struggles and
Mm-hmm.
became this disciplined, this powerhouse person. And for me, what has worked for me just to begin this journey of trusting myself in
Mm-hmm.
order to believe in these disciplines and continue with them was the high five habit. She has this book called The High Five Habit. But basically, the high five habit is where you align a normal daily thing that you do with another habit or
Mm-hmm.
a new habit that you want to introduce. So for her, her example is when you're brushing your teeth, usually people brush their teeth in front of a mirror. As soon as you put your toothbrush down, face the mirror and high five yourself, and then carry on your day.
Mm-hmm.
And she says why that works is one, you're surprising your brain. Your brain doesn't know what you're doing, but it's nice. A high five represents celebrating yourself, being showing up for yourself. You're like, wow, look at you go, high five. That's how you celebrate people, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's how little kids get excited. That's how adults celebrate any achievement, any team thing that happens. It's just high five, high five, high five. So
Mm-hmm.
when you brush your teeth, which is a big achievement, by the way, then you high five yourself. You're showing yourself like, whoa, bro, like, wow, look at you go. Wow. And you're celebratory, you're
Yeah.
excited. And that's where you begin. And then you do that for 30 days and see how your life changes from there, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
I
that's
like
my
that
first
actually.
one. That's
Oh,
what I've
wow,
been
that's
doing
actually so
lately.
good. And I love I heard it in passing, but I'd never actually tried it before. I think that's like a challenge that I'm gonna try with myself every day.
Mm-hmm.
Just do the high five and see how I feel in 30 days. So I'll give you feedback for sure.
You should, because I've changed it a little bit. I've added on um giving myself affirmations. I just tell myself, like, Tina, I love you so much. And you look beautiful today. And then I go about my day. And it's just a little small thing I say to myself, but it's changed how I view myself. And it's also
Mm-hmm.
changed how I show up for myself. I trust myself a little bit more. I trust that I can do stuff,
I
because I,
love
I I told
that.
myself that I can. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's my first one. What
Mm-hmm.
about for you? What's your first?
I would say that embracing um, the level of discomfort that comes with being disciplined.
Mm-hmm.
So I see challenges as opportunities to improve rather than setbacks. And I think like when obviously let's say I'm struggling to read the Bible every day, rather than saying, well, I can't read the Bible every day, let me just, like kind of like giving up about how I'm failing to just to connect. Maybe that day, maybe I'm not really feeling the most excited, so I'm failing to connect to what the Bible is saying. And in the past I'll just be like, well, it means today is a day of rest, Nicole, let's close our
Yeah,
eyes and get back to bed. And then it just throws off my whole day because my kicking start thing that I do for the day, I haven't
it
even
didn't
done it. So it
happen.
kind of throws everything off. So
Yeah.
now I'm challenging myself to do it anyway, even though I'm feeling discomfort. I even have this thing where I literally write in my journal and say, to be fair, today feels a bit odd.
Yeah.
I'm not really feeling you today, but I'm so grateful that you're still listening and you have grace, because at the end of the day, like, he's here to listen. You know, I mean, God is here to listen and he gets it. Like, he already knows what you're going through before you open your mouth. So now, rather than giving back and retracting, I'm just looking at that as an opportunity to improve. And by improving, it means that I'm doing it anyway. I'm gonna read the Bible anyway. For me, it's very important that you see those challenges as an opportunity to improve, rather than it being a setback and something that makes you feel discouraged to keep doing it anyway.
Definitely, definitely. And that goes to my next point, which is, how disgusted are you by the easier option? Right?
Mm,
So you have two things. Like earlier, we talked about who you are now versus the future you that you want to be.
mm-hmm.
Right. And like Nicole was saying, having that compassion with yourself over the setbacks, and just being honest with yourself that, okay, today I don't feel like doing the thing. It's fine, but I'll do it anyway. It's okay. Like just giving yourself a little bit more grace, but
Yeah.
still pursuing it in some capacity. But then for me, it's now, how disgusted are you by the current version of you? So the
Mm-hmm.
reason why we always want to go into these disciplines, or to be these different people, is because we don't really like the state that we're in currently, or we're uncomfortable. When you're uncomfortable, you desire change. You want to be this bigger person, and you admire people who are like that, or you envy people who are like that around you.
Definitely.
Envy is not a bad thing. It actually shows you the capacity. If you see another human being like that, you can also become that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes being disgusted by who you are currently can be your pushing forward, right? Because you don't want
Mm-hmm.
to be that person that just wants to sit in the bed all day.
Yeah.
Nobody ever wants to be that person. But if you look at yourself currently and you say, okay, I want to go to gym. January has passed. Well, now in February, I really, really need to go to the gym. And you look at your current state, what's happening? You're in bed, you're feeling comfortable in your onesie, with your warm socks on, and you're literally looking at yourself, and the future you is at the gym and running
Mhm.
on that treadmills, climbing up that stairmaster, is pushing those weights,
Yeah,
right? Which one do you want to puke over? I'm sorry, I have to say, it's the you in the
exactly.
bed. You don't want to be that person, really.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And maybe making yourself feel disgusted by that will push you, because the things that you're disgusted about, you don't go to that
Exactly.
place. You don't go and stand in a dirty toilet. You don't do those things because you have standards for yourself. You're like, me personally, I would never,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And saying that to yourself and saying, me personally, I would never, and then just getting up
That is
and
so
going,
powerful. I
you
love
know?
that.
Yeah,
I love that so much. And to be fair, if you think about it on a realistic standpoint, if you just take a step back, future you that's on the stairmaster running around had to start somewhere. Do you know what I mean? They didn't
exactly.
get there just by getting there. Like one night they just had the body. They had to start somewhere, which is what Tina was talking about before. Like you can lower the bar and then build up. So like for
Mm-hmm.
instance, right now where you're at right now, because obviously you can't run. I can't run up the stairs. I'll say that for free.
Yeah,
So instead of like working out like every single day for an hour, I will work out, I'll start with maybe 10 minutes. And then once I do that 10 minutes, I'll be able to do 20 minutes and then
yeah,
work my way up. And then once that habit starts, then you're able to build on it. So it's these small little habits that build the momentum. And then you're able to create a schedule that incorporates the time for your goals. Hence why
yeah.
Tina is making sure that she's waking up extra early before getting ready so she can write her 5 minutes of writing. And I'm sure
Mm.
very soon she will have to up that to 10 minutes, which means she'll have to wake up earlier. So you just
Yeah,
have to keep
definitely.
that routine
That
going.
momentum, yeah. That reminds me of a podcast I listened to. It was about Terry Crews and how he changed his life.
Mm-hmm.
And he said he wanted to go to the gym so bad, but he didn't know what to do. So he just ended up always going to the gym. But when he got there, he would just sit on the rowing machine and read the newspaper and leave. Every single day. He wouldn't use any machine. He would just go sit on the rowing machine, read the newspaper, finish the newspaper, get up and go every
Mm-hmm.
single day. And you can imagine like why you ask yourself why would someone pay the monthly fee and not do anything at the gym, right?
Exactly.
But if you break it down, it's to train your mind that you go to gym every day. Eventually he started picking up some tools and he started using some of the machines, and then
Mhm.
eventually he got into it and now he goes to the gym every single day. And if you look at pictures of Terry Crews, that guy is buff.
Yeah, he's got definition,
Yeah,
muscle, all that stuff.
exactly. But
Mm-hmm.
where he began was just going to the gym. And I think that goes into my next point of taking smaller bites, which I mentioned earlier, that when you see, when you put the gym as this huge, big goal, it can become so overwhelming
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because you start asking yourself, what am I going to do? How am I going to do it? Who am I going to talk to? There's so many people. People are going to judge me. They've been coming to gym for time. I don't know what I'm doing. And you get into so many instances of self doubt in your mind that you begin to retreat away from that goal and you're like, it's fine. I'll just stay home.
Exactly.
But when you take smaller bites and you say, like, we're talking about the Stairmaster, and you say, okay, today I will literally just go and do 10 minutes on the Stairmaster.
Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow again, you do 10 minutes. Every day, you do 10 minutes. By the end of it, you have a before and after picture,
Yes, and 10 minutes will be
right?
like too little. Do you know what I mean? But like,
Exactly.
then you find yourself doing 15 minutes because you're just used
Exactly.
to doing 10 minutes. You naturally want more for yourself, right? Which
Exactly.
is why you're
That's how it
listening to this
progresses.
podcast. Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Which is why you're here because you heard discipline and you're like, oh my God, I need this because you've tried to be
Yes.
disciplined. You want more for
Yes.
yourself. So naturally, you would just get up. And then to be fair, like, with the whole Terry Crews, I did listen to that podcast you're talking about. And like imagine when you finally sit there and you know that you're a person that goes to gym. The next question is, but a person who goes to the gym does not come to sit in the gym. Let me
Mm-hmm.
just pick up something. So at least,
Yeah.
I'm in the gym doing something. And then
Yeah.
after you've kind of picked up something, you're like, ah well, this thumbnail is a bit too light now. Let me pick up a let me pick up
Exactly. You just keep growing
another
and
one.
growing and growing.
Next minute you're just excited and looking forward
Mm-hmm.
to it, which is great. I love
I think
that.
it's great. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because at the end of the day, it's all about progress, right?
Yes.
So you start with those 5 minutes, whether you're writing, whatever, like me, or you're going to the gym, you're just going to sit on
Mm-hmm.
the treadmill, and just do your thing for
Mm-hmm.
10 minutes. But eventually, like Nicole was saying, you end up doing more. You
Yes.
end up doing more. Your 5 minutes become 10 after some time, and 10 minutes becomes 30, and then an hour. And then now, you're being asked to be the fitness instructor at the gym because look at you go, and that's what we want for you. That's what we want for ourselves, so you start with doing the minimum and then you see your progress,
Mm-hmm. And
you
I love
know
that.
mm-hmm.
And I guess my last tip would be, as much as motivation's great, don't rely too much on motivation because it's
Definitely.
not reliable enough to keep you going. Because on those moments when you're struggling with consistency and you're waiting to feel motivated, sometimes it's not coming. So
No.
instead, as I said before, build a system that keeps you on track even when you don't feel like it. Like, for instance, for me, I read 10 pages a day every day before I go to bed. That's the system. I'm going to read 10 pages a day. So that speaks to days when I'm happy to read 10 pages a day and days when I'm not happy to read 10 pages a day, where I'm not feeling motivated, but I'm reading them anyway.
Yeah. And
Mm.
the one thing about that, about doing that thing consistently, whatever discipline you're doing, is that even when you don't want to do it, after doing it, you feel better.
Yes, always.
Always. I've never
Always.
seen anyone complain about, you can complain about how your body feels after the gym,
Mm-hmm.
but you're not complaining about how you feel mentally about going to the
Mm-hmm.
gym. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You
You're not
people
sitting
always
there
feel
saying, I
great.
wish I didn't go.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's the thing about discipline.
No, I love
Yeah. I love that too.
it's such a nice chat.
It was a great chat. Well, thank you so much for listening to Thoughts We Share podcast. I'm Tinashe,
And I'm Nicole.
and we'll see you next time. Please follow, share, and subscribe. Would love to have you here again. Thank you
Yes.
so much.
Bye.